Welcome to the Rock Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin Shawnté, and today we're digging into some headlines and stories to come out of the outdoor adventure community. But before we get to that, we teased it last week, but it's actually happening this week. Come back this Friday for The Brief with producer Dave. It's a new segment here on the Rock Fight, where your favorite brand and creative expert takes a look at the best and worst of outdoor storytelling. And hey, did you miss Monday's episode of The Rock Fight? How about Tuesday's newest open container? And did you know that we're launching a new show with our own Shawnté Salabert next month?
I knew.
The takeover of outdoor podcasts here on the Rock Fight Podcast Network is happening. Make sure you are following and listening to all of our shows. And all right, stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Rock Fight, Rock Fight, Rock Fight.
Hey everyone, before we keep going here, I need to tell you about our teammates at Darby Communications. Like I've been telling you, if you run an outdoor, an endurance, or an active lifestyle brand, there is no better PR and digital marketing belay partner or drinking buddy than Darby. They can help your business reach new heights, and they might just keep you from falling on your ass. Since we started working with Darby, more and more people, and this is an important point now, guys, I want you to hear me on this, more and more people have reached out to us here at the Rock Fight because of that messaging. Look, guys, I'm dead serious. If they can help us, they can help anybody. Hit them up at darbycommunications.com. Do it today. Liz and Royal Robbins were known as American climbing royalty, part of the first group of Yosemite-based climbers that would scale routes yet unclimbed, who would promote the ethic of clean climbing, and who, with a core group of startup brands, would serve as the foundation of our modern outdoor industry. From their very first pair of shorts that could boast a true climbing functionality, Royal Robbins has become synonymous with comfort, versatile wear for the modern adventurer. From Rockcraft Productions coming spring 2026 to a specialty store near you, Royal Robbins presents Being Royal Robbins. It's the story of how the Royal Robbins men's desert pucker became an icon and spawned the new Camino pucker. And it's the story of how an innovative brand launched mosquito protection technology to keep you protected without the use of chemicals, and why the Salif hoodie is possibly the most unique hoodie in our outside world, and how you can experience this uniquely American story of adventure through the thoughtful clothing choices of Royal Robbins. Available for streaming everywhere you find actual water-based tributaries. Being Royal Robbins, because nature and adventure are good for the soul. All right, it's Wednesday. Outdoor adventure headlines time. Shanté's back. Are you acclimated to the world now that you're, is there like a decompression period you've had to go through to once you're off trail?
I have like whatever the trail version
The
of
outdoor
the
bends
is. I have the outdoor bends, not bent. Yeah, I don't know. I've been home a week-ish, and my sleep schedule, I was sleeping like a little feral creature out there. I was, up with the sun, down with the moon. Down with the sun, too, to be honest. I was tired out there. And so, yeah, I have not gotten used to city life again. I have found myself more than once looking at rec.gov and looking for permits to get back out. So,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I don't mess around. I do. When I finished my stint on the Pacific Crest Trail back in 2015 or so, I got home. I remember getting back to my apartment, and my friend Jay had been watching my cat for the last few months, and he left me a gluten-free beer in the fridge. And I put my pack down, I grabbed the beer, and then I pulled my very trail-worn copy of Travels with Charlie out of my backpack, and I couldn't be in the apartment, so I went and sat on the back stoop and just like slowly drank the beer. I may have shed a few tears. Aww. And the next day, I got a permit to go right back up just to make sure it was still there.
It may have disappeared. You never know.
You never know. I was, but yeah, it was still there. As it turns out, it's always still there. So in theory, I mean, maybe not for long, but for right now.
You just said something that I've heard you say multiple times before. You described yourself as feral. What do you think a feral human is exactly?
Oh man. Well, I have a group of girlfriends, Paulina, Ashi, and Cam, who the four of us jokingly call ourselves the feral females. And so our version of it, I guess, is that we like to be outside. We don't mind having a little dirt under the fingernails or on our faces or wherever else it goes. You know, we're a little bit of a farty crew. We're a little bit of a party crew.
Okay.
Actually, not really. But we do, you know, it's the idea of just being, to me, it's actually just channeling sort of your little kid self. I think of when, you know, I grew up in the city across from a Boys and Girls Club. It was not a very natural environment, but we spent all of our time outside. And this is also kind of an 80s latchkey kid thing to do. It's just play in alleys and things. So yeah, to me, it's sort of that I get to still channel those parts of my childhood where, you know, I'd go to summer camp for a week and wear the same clothes every day and just knock around in the dirt and read a bunch of books and stuff. The books are not the feral part, essentially, but I mean, they could
you need to be illiterate, I think, to be feral. Let's just, we need to like backtrack on that.
I don't know. Modern ferality is a little different.
The modern feralist. There's your
That's my new, actually, I need to copyright
new
this.
podcast.
This is my
The Modern
Substack
Feralist.
that I haven't started is the Modern Feralist.
Maybe that could be a segment on Gear Abbey. We'll put some like, you know, NPR, like, you know, Masterpiece Theater music behind you. Like, welcome to the Modern Feralist.
Modern Feralist. I'll work on my podcast voice.
Last thing I want to say before we kind of get into the topics for the day is last week you gave me just endless amounts of shit for choosing really depressing topics. And then the first thing you sent me this week, like when we started saying, hey, what should we talk about? You're like, hey, have you seen this guy who died while Everesting? So like, I'm like, are you serious?
I think the news is now biased. The news I'm getting is being delivered.
I affected the algorithm.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, hey, you like that stuff? Here's some more depressing news for you.
Right. Welcome to the rock fight where another person has died. So no disrespect to the Everesting individual who apparently died of I can't say the word.
Hyponatremia.
Thank you. There it is.
It's the, I don't know if you remember, but back sometime in the last decade, I want to say there was one of those radio shows where they're like, let's get listeners to do stupid shit on air.
Yeah.
And somebody drank themselves to death because of hyponatremia. So it's just an imbalance in your body. You don't have enough electrolytes to kind of balance out. You got all this water in there. But that is pretty wild that that's the cause of death there.
Right, and of all the endurance things, I think that's actually kind of a cool one. It's like, hey, it's a little different than just doing an ultramarathon. It's the whole thing of Everesting is you try to climb the equivalent of the height of Everest, you know, in a certain period of time, and but another tragedy hits the backcountry. So thanks, Shawnté, for bringing us down.
I realized it after I sent it. So, but I think you found some more upbeat things for us to discuss. Well, don't worry, everyone. We will bring it back down. Don't
worry about it. It'll happen. Speaking of which, today's opening shot is presented by Lem's Footwear, maker of the 100% vegan and 100% comfortable Primal Zen. I actually highly recommend the Primal Zen. It's a really comfortable shoe. I've worn it. It's good. All right. First up, it's that time of year again. It's when I start to miss sea kayaking, and I start wondering why I don't hear as much about kayaking as I used to. I just feel like kayaking used to be more, maybe because I lived in coastal New England.
Kayaking glory days?
I was really into sea kayaking for a while. I loved it. So luckily, according to an article on paddlingmag.com, there are young Gen Z paddlers that are carrying the paddle flag. In an article titled Meet the Gen Z Paddlers Proving Expeditions Aren't Dead, there's a rundown of amazing things happening on the water, including a blurb about our guy Kyle Parker, who is currently attempting to paddle tip to tip from Washington to Florida. By the way, his tagline is "Keep on stroking." So I think we pondered: does he get it?
He's in on it. He's got to be in on it. He seems like a lovely young gent, but he's in on it.
He's one of us, right? Other highlights include an all-female team assembling to take on the Inside Passage. There's a group called the Hudson Bay Girls who are paddling from Lake Superior to Hudson Bay. 30 indigenous youth paddlers who paddled the first descent of the recently undammed Klamath River, and then a risky route from Dublin to Istanbul, and then a guy named Peter Frank who was paddling a 6,000-mile loop in the eastern United States dressed as a pirate.
Yo ho ho.
So, Shawnté, what do you think of the youth out there keeping the spirit of adventure and expeditions and kayaking alive in 2025?
I mean, honestly, I love it. I love that there's like a real spirit of joy and fun to these rather than that kind of grizzled old timer trying to set a first or pushing some hardcore like man versus wild narrative. And
right.
I think it's really refreshing. I like that that's the take on these, is that there's like a buoyancy to it, a lightness. I mean, you want there to be a buoyancy if you're paddling. But
That is factual. That is true.
that's true.
Tune into the Rock Fight for more tips.
2 tips. Can't let that
No,
go
I couldn't let that
unnoticed.
go. No, I respect
Are
it.
you so what's your paddling history here? You sound like this is a thing for you. A little paddle in your heart.
Yeah, I feel like in the 90s especially, like there just became these sort of outdoor archetypes, and kayaking was one, whether it was, hucking yourself off of waterfalls kayaking or sea kayaking. When I moved to New England and worked at Eastern Mountain Sports, there was a lot of folks who worked there who also worked for URBA, which was the Essex River Basin Adventures, a kayak touring company, and we got out on sea kayaks, and just became a real kind of part of what we did all the time was going sea kayaking if we weren't going hiking or something else, and just really fond memories of that. Our last vacation, my wife and I took before our first daughter was born, when she was pretty pregnant. We went up to coastal Maine and just did a bunch of like kind of bebopping around and going to the Camden and Bar Harbor and everywhere else and kayaking. And it just became, when we moved, we kind of got rid of our boats, and then we started staying at paddleboarding. And every once in a while, I just start getting that like, I'd just like to have like a big, like, 17-foot plus, sea kayak and go out and do some touring or go kayak camping or whatever. And then, that urge goes away and I go mountain biking. But it's just nice to see it. We actually had somebody on for Paddling Magazine to talk about this once, about kind of the state of paddling. And it seems like it's doing pretty well. I would like to see paddling turn up at next year's Switchback. And maybe this is kind of what I'm alluding to. It definitely kind of felt, water sports, the absence of it at this first one. I understand why they kept it a little bit smaller. But I feel like that category, just would like to see that show up at events like that in the future.
There's just like an oar-shaped hole in your heart right now.
A little bit,
Yeah, no, I mean, paddling, I lived for almost 5 years in Charleston, South Carolina, and that's where I started kayaking. I'd canoed growing up in Wisconsin. That's the thing, a very popular sport there on our waterways. But I loved kayaking in Charleston. I'd say the only thing I didn't love about it were the alligators.
Oh, sure.
Depended on if you were in the freshwater or saltwater. But
can you hug them like bison? Or
that's not on my list. No, I'm going to pass.
Would you hug a bison or an alligator
headlines.
first if you had to choose?
Bison, obviously.
I don't know. I think you could sneak up on the elevator, give it a quick squeeze, and run away.
Oh man, no, I'm good. You know what I do want though? I mean, you bringing up this topic made me think of one of my favorite Sierra experiences. I was co-leading a group up Mount Silliman. I used to teach. I think I've talked about this. I used to teach a backcountry skills class, and part of it was taking people out, and they had to do at least 2 trips with us after the classroom portion, and they had to be mostly off trail so they could get experience with navigation and route finding and, good ethics when you're off trail. And so we were taking them up to Mount Silliman, and on the way up there, for those who are familiar, they know what I'm talking about. There's like 1,000+ feet of steep slabs you have to go up.
Oh, wow.
And it's daunting with a backpack, much less what my friend Erin did, which is surprise us at Silliman Lake up in a little basin below the peak with an inflatable, one of the alpaca pack rafts. And then all of the students got a chance, if they wanted to go paddle around a little bit. And you better bet your sweet ass I got in there. And it was such a delight. And I Googled, I went down a total alpaca / inflatable pack raft hole. And so now it's been a while, but I'm thinking that or one of the folding kayaks would really add delight to my life, I think.
Yeah, there's just something about packing up a boat and kind of, and I'm sure you can get the similar romance of, throwing on a backpack or anything else where you're getting out into nature for a long period of time. But
I mean, you hate hiking now, so
I do.
Well,
that's true. If I was going to do a multi-day journey, I'd rather do it on a boat than a bike or on my feet. I'll definitely say that. I think the other thing too that you brought up kind of at the beginning was, the idea of these expeditions. I do wonder if, kind of our older generation here kind of hanging on to the spirit of exploration, and largely most things have been explored, and so a lot of the media coverage and everything tends to go back to like, oh, it's the first of this or the fastest one of these versus a lot of these, the folks we mentioned in this article, that are like, nah, we're just doing this, like we're doing this really big, audacious adventure because we want to go do it. And then frankly, that's the future here, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I think having those more intrinsic goals for, quote, adventure, I think that's just much more appealing. It's much more appealing to me from a storytelling perspective. And then my own personal, I'm not going to do first anything. Like there is no first I aspire to. I don't aspire to a last either, if we're being honest. I'd like to keep living. But yeah, or fastest, that's never going to happen. But can I do maybe perhaps the most personally enjoyable? Yes, I can.
That's who's the best surfer in the water? It's the one having the most fun. It's like, I adhere to that, to everything.
Last one to Canada wins the PCT. That's how it goes.
Right. Exactly. So, well, good on you, Paddling Mag, and to all of those folks who were featured. And everybody get out there and paddle a boat around. It's a good idea. Next up, there was a recent review of Soleil's new approach shoe, the Wildfire NXT on GearJunkie.com. And I got to see that shoe in person at OMA a couple of weeks ago, and it made me think about something that might be a little controversial. Because in the age of 8 billion different trail runners, do we really need approach shoes? So my case against them is traditionally, approach shoes have been basically a more functional climbing shoe, like something to wear on the approach that had sticky rubber on the toe. But when compared to modern trail runners, they really fit like absolute shit. And in this largely positive review of the Wildfire NXT, author Bergen Jossum, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Jossum, said he wouldn't make this his choice as a trail running shoe, but it was good for, quote, aerobic approaches to rocky objectives. So, why bother? We have lots of trail running shoes. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on approach shoes?
Oh, man. Well, it's funny because I have some and I haven't used them in a while, but I used to climb a lot. And I did actually appreciate them back in the day. I had some Scarpas that I just loved. I thought they looked kind of cute. They had a very skate shoe vibe to them, except for the toe was very pinched in because it was a more technical shoe. But honestly, I liked when I was climbing a lot and I was going, I was anywhere from Joshua Tree to Yosemite to, more local crags. I liked having something that sort of threaded the needle between hiking and climbing for those mixed approaches where you might be on trail for part of it, then you might be scrambling around some boulders and you might be on some slabs and yada, yada. Or you might have, some fourth class stuff that you don't really want to put on these pinchy tight climbing shoes, but you want a more precise toe in than your trail runner is going to give. So they were great for that. And I still think there's a place for them, but I do, I haven't actually looked at approach shoes in a while. So I'm curious sort of what the landscape looks like now. You got me thinking about it because back in the day, I have a couple pairs still in my closet. Back in the day, it was pretty big shit. You'd go to OR and Scarpa would La Sportiva, all these brands would have their approach shoes right by their climbing shoes. And it was of course you have some of each, multiples of each. But yeah, there's so much hybrid stuff going on right now. I was suspect when you brought this up, but you might have a point.
Well, I'm not saying that there aren't ardent approach shoes defenders out there. I'm sure there are people who will defend them to the death and the specific place where someone climbs, where they really can bring value. Yeah. I think mostly it was I want to make sure that you identify me as a climber shoe, right? I can wear a shoe that the lace to the toe, the whole deal. It looks like a climbing shoe.
I definitely wore those beloved Scarpas out into the world, probably more than I wore them on approaches.
So you see someone kind of that knowing look. And by the way,
my technical entrance to the climbing gym.
Yeah, and this exists, and the people who say it doesn't exist in the outdoor space is full of shit. Oh, yeah. We've talked about it. I look for, when I'm out riding my rigid mountain bike, I'm I want the person who notices that there's no suspension fork on the front. And I get the little look oh, shit. Oh. Yeah. Sorry, if you say you're not looking for those little things, you are. But when I look at the increasingly cluttered footwear scene, they're just incredibly specialized, right? And so they fit on them. A lot of climbers wear sports sandals. I don't know. It just maybe seems like I don't want to say a dead category, or it's just a dated category, maybe, is kind of...
It might be. It might be. I do think, in general, we're seeing so many more crossover shoes. You and I were talking before we started recording about Craft and how they've got some interesting-looking hybrids coming out.
Gravel shoes.
Yeah, a gravel. I love the idea of bike feet, having bike feet. I guess we'll see.
Well, those are rollerblades.
Those are broken bones for Shawnté.
That's right.
That's what those are.
But no, I'd love to hear from anybody. Is anybody going to die on the hill of the approach shoe? Weigh in the comments or on myrockfight@gmail.com.
Jimmy Chin, send us a comment at.
Here's why you're wrong.
Rock fight, lightning round.
All right, let's do a quick lightning round, and then we'll move into our main topic for the day. So the first topic on today's lightning round, Explorers Web posted a newcomer's guide to icebergs, which reminded me how cool icebergs are and how challenging it is for many of us to see them in person. Shawnté, are icebergs the most underrated natural feature we can encounter on a backcountry adventure?
I suppose yes, unless you're in the Arctic backcountry.
Is there anything you've seen on the PCT that's as cool as an iceberg?
Marmots.
Yeah. All right, next up.
Real big boy marmots.
Just giant marmots. You only see the lower third of them, the upper third of them, above the tree line. Yes. So, next up, according to climbing.com on July 8th, 9-year-old Veronica Amy Cheek.
Colin didn't fact check that pronunciation.
Correct. Became the youngest
never do.
person known to have climbed 514B, which begs the question, why haven't we accomplished more with our lives, Shawnté?
Speak for yourself, my friend. I once had Sean Astin give me personalized half-marathon training advice, so I feel like I've accomplished everything I really wanted to.
Is Sean Astin who you want to listen to when it comes to marathon advice?
Hardcore athlete cover of Trail Runner magazine, Sean Astin. Yeah, of course.
Just known marathon authority, Sean Astin.
Listen, Goonies was my favorite movie as a child.
Me too. Great movie. All right, next up, according to a press release, My Outdoor TV will be airing MLFNOW's coverage.
Can't not laugh.
I can't say it. Of the Tackle Warehouse Invitational. Shawnté, what kind of programming should Major League Fishing, a.k.a. MILF, be airing?
I mean, honestly, somehow hearing the words MILF Now and Tackle Warehouse Invitational in the same sentence, I would think this is an event where an elite cohort of hot moms are either mud wrestling or playing flag football.
In the day of Love Island, I mean, that wouldn't get major ratings? I mean, come on.
That idea is for free. Any producers out there, just give us a call. myrockfight@gmail.com.
We just want credits. That's it.
That's all.
All right, lastly, in a response to the impact on runners, the impact being made on runners by rising global temperatures, a group co-founded by Shanté's second all-time favorite survivalist Bear Grylls, has proposed running marathons 3,000 feet underground in the tunnels of Swedish mining company Boliden. Shawnté, are you down for a subterranean marathon?
First, I just want listeners to know that Bear Grylls is further down my list of favorite survivalists than every single contestant on Alone and Naked Afraid combined, which I have never seen. Second, hell no, given that I developed claustrophobia during the short time it took you to say all of that, so no.
Yeah, underground marathon.
Nope.
3,000 feet underground. This isn't just like, oh, you go down there.
I feel like I got carbon monoxide poisoning just thinking about it.
I know.
Something's happening in my body. It's bad.
That'll be the next deadly story we talk about. Is all the people who died during the underground marathon. Would you like to read the outro?
You know I would.
Yeah.
All right. Today's episode of The Rock Fight is presented by Lems. Looking for shoes that can offer both long-lasting durability and all-day comfort? Well, look no further than Lems. With a versatile lineup featuring over 30 thoughtfully designed styles, from minimalist sandals, the switchbacks, which I love, and rugged trail boots, to vegan-friendly sneakers and laid-back slip-ons, there's truly something for everyone. Whether you're hitting the trail, traveling the globe, or strolling through town, Lems are built to move with you naturally and keep up every step of the way. Get shopping over at lemsshoes.com.
Did you wear your switchbacks when you were in town?
I did.
Yeah?
I wore them on the trail and in town.
Wow.
Versatile.
Truly a versatile shoe.
Deeply. I actually had several people had somebody take a photo of my shoes and ask me where they were from. So,
did anyone say, are those bedrocks?
No, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
All
I was
right.
surprised.
Yeah. All right, today's main story is presented by Oboz, who loves hiking. And as the Cupid of the outdoors, Oboz wants to help you love hiking just as much as they do. So according to an article on mountainjournal.org, the U.S. Forest Service will abandon its 9 regional offices. Currently, the Forest Service employs roughly 30,000 folks with their 9 regionally based offices that manage about 193 million acres of public land. The work done at these offices will be absorbed by 5 regional hubs. Current regional research that is happening will also be consolidated. So, Shawnté, you sent this story over. You spent some time working with the Forest Service in the past. What are your thoughts on this development?
Well, just so nobody feels misled, I haven't worked for the Forest Service, but with them. I've actually written a lot of web content and training content for them over the last few years. So that is until the new administration took over. So that work has dried up because who needs information anymore?
Come on. Ignorance is bliss.
Just stick your head in the sand and enjoy it because there won't be any forest or grasslands left after a while.
Just sand.
Just sand. Just great head swallowing sand. So part of working with them is that through the course of working with them and attending meetings and phone calls and all this stuff, I learned just how important it is that they have those 9 regional offices. That they are managing pretty much everything. So they've got over 100 different national forests and grasslands that fall under that. I think it's roughly 120 or so. And these regional offices touch every unit in their region. So they cover everything from managing operations to budgeting, resource management, volunteer recruitment and training, like the whole shebang. And so those hubs coordinate everything in that part of the country. So the 5 new hubs you mentioned, those are actually USDA hubs. Those are hubs for the entire Department of Agriculture, not specific to the Forest Service. So get that, like, if you think about it, the Forest Service is the largest agency that falls within the Department of Agriculture. Like you said, they manage almost 200 million acres of land. And so while I was doing this work with them, it became super clear that even of those 9 regional hubs that kind of help coordinate everything, even they were overworked as it was, like they needed more people, not less. And so now you're going to have like 120 different units reporting directly to somebody in DC. If the goal here is efficiency, quote efficiency, and listen, I am all for reducing government waste and redundancy and all that jazz. I think they're really missing the mark. You know, I think that we live in a massive country. I mean, how many times have people joked / half joked that we should really be a bunch of different countries? So, you know, now just imagine that somehow this nearly 200 billion acres is going to be really efficiently managed by some pencil pushers in DC who aren't connected to these parts of the country. Like, it's just ludicrous to me.
So, not to put you on the spot, but I mean, do you know some of the work that one of these regional hubs do? Like, what kind of things do they do in their daily service?
Well, they're managing. So if you imagine, like, for instance, the Pacific Northwest region or whatever, they've got multiple states under their purview. They've got any national forest land and any national grassland is under their purview. So those regional hubs are basically coordinating things like budgeting and staffing and volunteers and general operations. They're coming up with land management plans for the lands under their purview. So if they're talking about, the government wants to do more resource harvesting is the weirdest way I've ever said that. They would cut down some more trees, guys. So if they want to do that the way that happens is by management on the regional level, and then it goes to the local level.
Yeah.
And you kind of like they're coordinating all aspects in that region, and it allows all those people in the forest units. So like here, for instance, down in Southern California, we've got the Angeles National Forest, San Bernardino, Cleveland, etc. All of those units then have one place they can report to, and then from there, those 9 regional hubs communicate with Washington. So you have a much more accurate system of what's happening on the ground, what needs to be allocated where, whether that's staffing, money, other resources. And so if you're just ripping that away, it's going to be chaotic. I'm just saying, having worked with these people for the last few years and doing some really cool projects with them that now I think will maybe not ever get updated again, it's really sad to me.
Does the recreation piece of it fall into that? So like you mentioned Cleveland National Forest. That's
anything that happens on the forest falls under that purview. So you have like Cleveland will issue its own permits, for instance, and work with local partners. So like the Pacific Crest Trail Association works with the Cleveland National Forest and Inyo, et cetera.
Right.
But all of that is then funneled through the regional office, which is making sure that resources are allocated fairly across all of their units and things like that. So I don't understand how somebody in Washington is going to know what's happening on the ground and be able to really respond to the resource needs in all of these regions. Like, it's hard enough for those 9 offices to coordinate such a massive, like, they each have a huge amount of land that they are in charge of. So I don't know. I mean, maybe someone will come up with a wonderful system and it'll be great, and I'll just remain optimistic. But I don't think it's great.
this falls in the camp of a few other things we've talked about on the pod with what this administration is doing, where it's like there's a good idea in here that is just being horribly executed, and so it's not even like, to your point, I also agree, like, yeah, if there's waste of our tax dollars, I would like that to go away. This just feels like, let's just lay waste to it and we'll figure it out later.
There's a lot of baby in bathwater happening.
A lot of baby in the bathwater. And I look at, like, this is going to take forever. Like, even if things work out the way we all want them to, and this moron's gone, and we get, if there's a giant epiphany with all of our elected officials of like, oh my God, we need to do such a better job of managing this country. And we start getting things like, prioritizing vaccines and climate change and all the things that we care about as, people who want to continue to live on this planet. Rebuilding all of this is going to take how many decades?
No, that's the thing. I mean, they've eviscerated so much. You also lose what you're losing with all of this. Also, is institutional knowledge. It's happening, like especially in the science realm when you're thinking about all of those things that have been destroyed.
Yep.
And it's that to me is the scariest thing, because we're losing this deep institutional knowledge and these people who've worked on, like, I've got friends who are scientists who've, lost their funding through the government that were working on things like cancer research. And, it's pretty wild to me. It's all quite short-sighted. Like any good culling of excess waste and all that, waste, not excess waste is redundant, but anything we're trying to cull redundancy.
It's like resource harvesting, or what was it?
Resource harvesting. But anything done on such a massive scale should have been thought through. And again, like this is not to say, it's certainly working with the federal government, the Department of the Interior, I've worked with some other branches as well, is not the most straightforward thing. There's a lot of red tape, and there's definitely some fat that could be cut. But it's, again, just baby with the bathwater. There's not a lot of future thinking here, and that's because that's not the goal. The goal isn't actually to create a nice future for us all, Colin.
I'm not a conspiracy guy. Like, typically, like, things are pretty straightforward. In this case, it's like, no, you're trying to make us all dumber so that we don't ask questions. I mean, this is you were taking the idiocracy playbook and putting it in. Like, if you're dumb, you're not going to care. Like, hey, listen, there's Love Island's on TV, and you have your Crocs. Are you happy? Good. Just sit there and shut up about it.
You don't need trails and places to recreate. No, just watch your TV and buy things.
I mean, is there anything? I mean, can volunteer groups step in? Are there things that people can do to pick up the slack?
They're probably going to have to just think about things like I mentioned the PCTA earlier, the organization that helps maintain the PCT and works for funding. The PCTA, part of what they do is a big role of what they do is protect the corridor that the trail travels through. So a lot of the trail, large portions of the trail still are under easements. So it's not land that is owned by the PCTA, or it's not federal land. So that land is always, if it's up for sale, then it's at risk, that part of the trail, whatever. So the PCTA also does a ton of trail maintenance, just like other trail orgs. And so a lot of the funding for all of this stuff comes from their partnerships with the federal government. So they're having to look at alternate funding. But I think this is happening across the board in different aspects of American life right now, where people are having to lean into, is there nonprofit funding? Can we get more from individual donors? Like, are there volunteers that can help us? And I think the local forest units are going to have to do that as well. I think the biggest issue, though, is going to be the communication with Washington about anything else.
Well, and that's, if there are some local organizations that are on top of some things, but if you look at the map of the Forest Service regions, the eastern region goes is that the Missouri River that's on the west side of Iowa? Like, basically all the way through the northeast, right? The southeast, the southern region goes from Texas to the eastern seaboard. We're talking about massive amounts of land that used to have one office, which was probably, to your point, underutilized or underfunded.
Understaffed, underfunded, under-resourced.
There were not enough resources for what was required beforehand, and now there's going to be nothing except for probably some people in Washington, D.C. picking up the phone going, yeah, sure, I guess you can, staff that ranger station.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you have when you're saying, oh, we'll have these 5 hubs, those are, again, USDA hubs. USDA is the department, the big, this is an agency under it. The USDA is much larger than just the Forest Service. So if you think that somehow these 4 hubs are just going to be able to absorb all of the work of these 9 regional offices, you are smoking something.
Well, maybe they're thinking because they're rescinding the Roadless Act, they're just going to sell off a bunch of forest land anyway, and they won't need these offices.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I was going to actually mention that. So I think that's something that people can we still have time to keep pushing for our elected officials to try and stop that, because that is a really horrible precedent to set, and it will fundamentally change the nature of natural spaces in this country, of what we call public lands.
Crazy.
Yeah, just an upper for you, Colin.
Well, maybe we should have gotten back to talk about dead people in the backcountry.
Oh, no. Well,
that might be less depressing. At least they died doing what they loved. We have to live through this.
I love the gallows humor we have.
Yes. All right. Well, I suppose we will keep an eye on this and see how this all unfolds. And then we will rant about it the next time it is in the news.
It's our new tariffs.
Yes. I guess continue to, ping Congress, your Congress folks, and about the things you're unhappy about. That's all it feels like we can do right now, and protest. So.
And get out and enjoy these, quote, public lands while we still have them.
That's right.
Honestly, use what we got while we have it.
Crazy. You want to read the outro?
Yes.
Do you want me to do it?
No. You know what, Colin? I'm on it. I'm going to do this one for you, buddy. I'm going to take this one for you.
You love
That's me supporting you. Because you know what? Today's top stories on The Rock Fight were brought to you by Oboes, who wants to share their love of hiking, and we want to help them by uncovering all the different reasons we love to take the long walk, including the following. Number 1, so your Apple Watch finally gets a workout. I use. I don't know
if that means anyone with an Apple Watch, they don't work out, never.
Yeah. They just for show. My Koros gets outside every day.
Oh, all right. Tech Wars.
Tech Wars. That's exactly where you'll find me. All right. Number 2. When else can you say, I almost died, but in a fun way?
Right? That was you a couple weeks ago.
That was me.
Right? Just hugging those marmots?
Unplanned glissade. The marmots would have saved me if I went too far down the snowy slope. The marmots would be
Marmots
there for me.
assemble! They come charging down the hill.
Landing on a soft pile of marmot fur. Little haunches. I just said haunches twice in this episode, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
It's your new trail name, Haunches.
Haunches. Wow. Number 3, every puddle is a chance to test your, quote, waterproof boots.
Yes, I agree with that. It's fun to step in puddles. Go tromping around in puddles.
It is. It goes back to being feral. It's the childlike wonder.
There you go.
But you know what, Colin?
What's that?
Number 4, speaking of waterproof.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hiking means the Katabatic collection featuring the Katabatic LT Low with Gore-Tex.
Oh, conveniently placed after talking about your waterproof boots.
That's right. Good job, you, writer of this ad.
You're welcome.
The LT takes the Katabatic collection to a whole new level with a lighter package and additional environmentally friendly materials. And the waterproof LT Low features Gore-Tex Invisible Fit, combining true fit, feel, and comfort. Yeah,
I do love. I've not tried the LT, but my Katabatic Winds are a pretty great shoe.
This hiking appreciation moment is brought to you by Oboes of Bozeman, Montana. Oboes is the maker of premium quality footwear for the trail and the Cupid to the outdoor world. Oboes, love hiking.
Gotta love hiking. Even me.
Do you?
I do. I still.
And when
do.
you wear your Katabatics.
That's right. My Winds.
It's time for a party shot.
All right, time for the parting shot. All right, for my parting shot. This week, apparently, Shawnté, it's the heat that wins. All right, according to an article on athletechnews.com, a new study says that hot tubs, they're better than saunas and are best for circulation and immune health. So if you just got that sauna installed, you best tear that shit down and put up a hot tub, but don't get too attached to soaking in that glorious hot water, because sometime in the next 1 to 3 months, we're going to swing back the other way, and you're going to hear about how you need, a cryogenics membership to complement the $2,000 cold plunge tub that you'll need to buy. So my parting shot is for the growing hot and cold therapy industry, because despite your ability to find an article, as Shawnté told me, that will convince you that you need one of these things.
A study. I said a study. And also I wasn't
They're
trying
all
to convince
pretty
you of
thin.
this.
They might be peer-reviewed, but they're pretty thin.
Cold
all right?
is good for inflammation.
There's nothing truly definitive. But if you like the idea of soaking in hot or cold water or sitting in a steamy sauna, just indulge in it, man. If it makes you feel good, then you go do you. Feel good doing the thing that you want to do, but don't get sucked in by big wellness, all right? And say that you got to go buy a cold plunge tub, put it in your backyard like a moron, all right?
Or you could just rub icy hot all over your body and have both sensations at once. A little tiger balm.
I bristle at this sort of rising thing, the amount of resources going into making so many of these things. And it's like, hey, does this work? And the answer is like, yeah, works pretty good. It's just such bullshit.
I'll think of you next time I
swim at a
sauna.
creek. Yeah, there you go.
I do want to go to, I do have sauna dreams right now. We have some amazing Korean spas here in LA, so.
And I'm sure all of our
Overdue.
Swedish pals would tell us about, the sauna scene over there,
They
but
would.
I just,
They're very
Anyway.
naked. Actually, both. Yeah, they're very all saunas.
I think
So much
everyone's
nudity.
naked except for
You're right.
Americans. We're the ones
It's
who are all
true.
prudish and uptight. Like, oh my God, I saw a butt.
Not a
Oh no.
portion of a cheek.
Oh no. What will I do?
Truly, one of my favorite versions of you is Old Man Shakes Fist to the Sky. So
It's
thank
not.
you for indulging.
I'm shaking my fist at big hot cold. Okay.
Okay, big hot cold. Colin's on to you. But
Yes.
you know what? I have a parting shot today, and it is
Okay.
big hot cold. It's a follow-up to my weird parting shot from last week that I feel like wasn't really a parting shot. It was just me rambling about these people I'd met that were climate scientists. One of them was heading to The Hague right after the trail.
Yes.
So, update. So basically, as I mentioned, the International Court of Justice, which is known as the World Court to most, they were about to issue this opinion on whether countries were essentially responsible for their contributions to climate change. So the report, or their opinion, was released last week, and no surprise, they're like, yep, countries, or states, as they call them officially, are responsible to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And so not only that, they determined that there should be criminal liability and a requirement like, yeah, y'all are wrong for doing this shit. And essentially a requirement that they pay climate reparations if they continue to ignore their responsibility to act. And this is really aimed at the countries committing the most egregious of the contributions to greenhouse gas.
So not the United States.
No, absolutely, we
Of
are
course
angel,
not.
just angel babies.
Yes.
But yeah, so basically, it's like, okay, that's great. I'm not surprised that they rule that way, but it's great to hear.
Completely unenforceable. But,
Unenforceable, but something I want to note. So the guy I met on trail, my buddy, specifically works with island states. So that's places like Fiji, Haiti, Samoa, that will and are already feeling the outsized effects of climate change, given their vulnerability to warming, rising seas. And it was actually the tiny island state. Some people may remember this from, I believe it was Survivor, of Vanuatu.
Okay.
With a population of just over 300,000 people and clocking in at roughly 4,700 square miles in size. They got this ball rolling back in 2021. So kind of a classic David versus Goliath move. Little guys really can come up on top. Even if, like you said, if figuring out how to enforce this opinion is just going to be the craziest uphill battle. So good luck to you, World Court. I would love to see you succeed in this. Let us know how that goes. At myrockfight@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's right. Please. David beat Goliath, but then Goliath's like giant big brother looking like Donald Trump came over the hill and it's like squashed it down. Like, you're not going to do that.
Is it South Park's version of Donald Trump?
Did you
That's what
watch
I
the
want.
episode?
Yes, I did.
Oh, it's
My friend-
amazing.
It was over at my friend's house, and her husband, and their son were like just sitting there, and they're like, "Come join us."
Yes.
But good luck to all the Davids out there trying to fight the uphill battle on climate and any other thing.
Anything else? Maybe there's a few in the Forest Service.
Good luck to you,
We
Forrest Davids.
That's all I got. Anything else you got on the docket for today?
No, I made a really good potato salad, and I'm really excited to eat it afterwards.
All right, well, that's the show. We want your emails. Send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. The next time you hear Shanté's voice won't be next Wednesday. It'll be on Monday's episode.
Whoa.
When we're
I'm
doing
infiltrating the
the top outdoor brand draft. That's the first time we're talking about that on the pod. So come
Industry
back for
Boys
that.
Club.
right? By the time you hear this episode, I will have gone to see Krista Makes and Lust and Jake down here in San Diego. So if anybody's out seeing them this week, come say hi. Actually, you won't, because this will be out after that show. That show has happened.
You're a
Never mind.
traveler.
That's true. But the Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. For Shawnté Salavera, I'm Colin True. Thanks for listening, and here's our guy, Krista Makes, with the Rock Fight fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.